NZ Aerosports, Icarus Canopies, now Gyro. That's right, we've rebranded, and Gyro is our next generation. It honours our founder, as that's the name we knew him by, but Gyro also marks the start of a new chapter. And not to be biased, but it's going to be fucking epic. Long story short, we're more us than ever. So if you're new to the sport, or even a Sky God Ninja Turtle, welcome. I think our valiant leader Lucy, Gyro's daughter, says it best.
And we still got that fuck yeah attitude. Rebrand! Woo!
Rebrand woo indeed, Lucy. Anyway, head over to gyro.com for more info and get amongst you legends.
I was 19, broke, unemployed, and sold my girlfriend's canopy for drug money. So I thought I better sew her a new one. What a sentence, and what a story. This describes the humble yet outrageous beginnings of NZ Aerosports, the home of Icarus Canopies, in the words of our founder himself. From getting a paratrooper toy from his mom, watching parachutes at the DZ as a 6-year-old, jumping off the wharf with a parachute made from bed sheets, doing his first jump at 16, sewing his first canopy on a borrowed machine at 19, and starting to sell parachutes out of a garage in 1986, Paul Gyro Martin had an undying love for the sky. Our company started with one man with the wildest of spirits and a true blue sky dream, a renegade. In the time that Gyro created and ran the Icarus Canopies brand until he passed away in 2017, he pushed everything he had to its limits. We miss him, and we always will. Gyro is the next generation of NZ Aerosports. It honors our founder, of course, because it was the name we all knew him by, but Gyro the rebrand also marks the start of a new chapter, our next jump. Gyro is the space between sound and silence, art and science, chaos and calm. Gyro is a state of epic tranquility that transcends understanding. That moment, in the door, in free fall, mid-swoop, where nothing but the present exists. A perfect balance of euphoria and thrill. Gyro captures our passion for flying and our commitment to designing break-the-fucking-rules canopies that deliver pilots pure, wild flight. Hey gang, so I got a new book out. It's called The Upside of Fear, and it's exactly what you think it's about. It's about the good side of, well, getting scared. In it, we talk not only about the science and biology behind fear, but the psychology as well. And it's not just coming from me, it's coming from some of the best in the sport. Omar Alhigelan, Jeff Provenzano, Maxine Tate, and so many more have contributed their sometimes terrifying stories to the book to help you overcome your fear. So head to the lunaticfringepodcast.com. You're going to find the link to the book there, as well as the other books. It's available in ebook, paperback, hardback, and audiobook right now.
Coming straight from the cockpit, it's another episode of Lunatic Fringe with the fucking pilot.
Ready, set, go. All right, once again, back in the can for another edition of Lunatic Fringe Into the Void. And I've got somebody in the, quote, studio with me, in the toilet, in the can, to tell me some fantastic stories. So tell me, who the fuck are you and what do you do?
I'm a fucking asshole.
you are a fucking asshole.
Yeah. No, but seriously.
Started out with truth.
My name is Gorazd Lah. Friends call me Nitka. I'm a Slovenian skydiver, and, well, that's the first introduction. You'll get to know more later.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, so the name again, Gorazd.
Gorazd, yeah.
But people know you by Nitka.
Nitka,
Okay,
Nitka is my nickname.
Where did Nitka come from, and what does it mean?
Nitka basically means a thread. So, like a, not a threat, but a thread. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, Din's laughing because he knows my Slavic accent and pronunciation.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's a thread. So, yeah, basically, I was pretty crazy and wild kid, and did many stupid things, and my life hang on a thread for many times. So my friends started to call me Nitka.
I did not know that. That's a fucking great story.
Yeah.
Your life was hanging by a thread. Yes, that sounds
Many
about right.
times,
That
yeah.
sounds about right. So you're a professional skydiver. You have been for quite some time. You're Slovenian, although I always fuck with you and call you a Russian because I know it pisses
Angry Russian.
because I know it pisses you off. So, for the Americans that are listening along that don't understand why Slovenian being called Russian would piss them off, briefly tell me why.
Well, this is kind of like I would call you Nicaraguan or something. You know, it's 3,000-4,000 miles of distance between border of Russia down to Slovenia. But basically, I think Americans now should know where Slovenia is because the first lady is Slovenian. So, you know, here you go.
Yeah, that's fair enough. She absolutely is. I can't deny that. All right.
I know her personally.
You do?
Yeah, I met her a couple of times when she
Wait,
was
wait,
still...
do you know her?
No, I just know her. I don't know her. I just know her. I
right.
spoke with her a couple of times, but that was like 20-something years ago.
Oh, fair
on
enough.
some events.
So this is
back
about
home.
the time she was doing the Playboy spreads and stuff like that.
I don't know if she did Playboy, but yeah, she was a model. And, you know, Slovenia is a pretty small country with less than 2 million people.
Yeah.
So all the athletes, like the show business scene was very small, and we were invited to the same events many times. So that's how I met her a couple of times. Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, so back to the normal subject of the podcast is doing crazy shit. So you got nicknamed Nitka because your life was always hanging by a thread. So I'm imagining that skydiving was just the latest thing that you did. What started the whole extreme sport dangerous shit for you?
Oh yeah, skydiving. I started to skydive quite kind of late in my life.
So you were doing crazy shit as a kid.
When I was 21, basically, I started skydiving. Although all my teammates, we're gonna get back to that later. Started with 16, but yeah, I was born in very very sportive family. My both parents are also very kind of crazy.
Okay, cool.
They met each other on the judo competition.
Oh wow!
They
okay.
were both judoists. Yeah.
All right.
That was still back when Slovenia was part of Yugoslavia.
Okay.
Back in those times, and yeah, like, you know, sports were basically every day of our lives since beginning, since I was born, and then it just went into the more and more. Like, you know, I started to ski. We had a cottage on the ski slope. I started to ski when I was 2 years old, and climb a little bit on the rocks around our weekend house and things like that. And my mom's Croatian. I was sailing and scuba diving with super young age as well. And it was just continuously growing. I found out adrenaline and the excitement pretty soon in my life, and I just kind of stuck with me.
Nice. Now, how did that transition into jumping out of airplanes?
I was always into flying. I wanted to be a fucking pilot like you did. Well, I am a pilot, but not professional like
Sure,
you are.
Sure.
So basically around age 6, 7, 8, I started to pursue alpine skiing.
Okay.
So that became my primary sport, although I was also doing other sports like gymnastics, judo, scuba diving, and other stuff. But skiing was kind of my primary sport from age 6 to 18 and a half, 19.
Oh, wow.
When I got injured, I was doing that professionally. What was the word? I forgot.
You injured yourself skiing, and so that kind of took you out of the career?
Yeah, that took me out. I had a really, really bad fall on a downhill training. Kept me in the hospitals for 2.5 years.
Holy shit.
14 major surgeries. Basically, I was all broken. My whole body except my left arm was kind of survived the fall.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I spent 3 months in the hospital, all in the plaster.
Oh, body cast.
Yeah, body cast.
Fucking
yeah.
hell.
Thanks for help.
Yeah.
And yeah, I came in the hospital with 86, 87 kilograms, which is what, 160 pounds probably for Americans?
No, that's like 185.
185.
Yeah.
And I came out with 55 kilograms.
Holy shit.
So 30 kilograms, like 60 pounds
Yeah, man.
of atrophy
Wow.
in those 3 months. And then the doctors told me that there's no chance for me to be an athlete or whatever, that I can just forget about them.
Sure.
But me being stubborn as I am, I proved them wrong. So how I came to skydiving, when I was 16 years old, that's the minimum age to start flying back home.
Sure.
I did the course for the glider plane air.
Okay.
For the glider plane pilot. So I started to fly glider planes. And then with 18, I started to fly single engines like Cessna 150, 172, things
Sure.
like that.
Sure.
And then at one point, my home is really close to Lake Blade drop zone. Basically, it's a really beautiful airfield
Okay.
with a really great history. First World Parachuting Championship was held there in 1951 or 2.
Oh, wow. Okay, cool.
And then the 10th, 20 years old later, and the 20th in the 91, I think. And at one point, I was watching skydivers there, doing the trainings, and that drop zone was basically mostly was the base of the Slovenian national team. And at those times, it was supported by the army for competition. So it was classical parachuting.
Okay.
It was accuracy style and four-way.
Sure.
But, I was flying there and I was watching them. And at one point I said, okay, I'm going to try this. I need to try this.
Right.
And, I did my first jump actually when I was 16 with a round canopy, just with a rescue canopy, because that was necessary to get a glider plane license.
Wow.
You had to do one static line jump with a round canopy from the Antonov 2.
Okay.
So that was my first. I mean, it was a jump, was not a skydive.
Yeah.
And
Still though,
basically
that's...
no control almost with the canopy and anything, but it got me thinking, and then
That's cool.
Then I started to skydive and I got hooked, and it's been 27 years since then.
Yeah. Well, so when you first started you had to do the initial jump when you were starting out trying to learn how to fly and all that stuff, and then you decided, all right, well, maybe this is something worth pursuing. Did you do like a classic AFF? Was it
No. It was a static line course. We didn't have AFF course then.
Okay.
It was a round canopy course.
Nice.
Altogether, I have over 200 round canopy jumps.
Wow. Yeah, I've saw one once. So
and once.
Yeah, well,
Okay.
we used to have this guy that would come out and jump in Chicagoland that would occasionally jump a round parachute. And for me, the coolest thing in the world with a round parachute was trying to see how well I could spot. It's because I was working as the pilot, of course. So it was just trying to, but that's it. That's literally all the experience that I have with a round parachute.
Yeah, those were the days when actually skydivers had to think once they opened the parachute, even before they jump out. They need to think where they're gonna jump out, so the wind will bring them to the spot. Not now, no one even sticks a head out to check where the spot is. They just trust the fucking pilot when the green light is, and they just jump out, and then it's like, whoa, where am I?
Days of GPS, that's for sure. And you hope you have a pilot that doesn't have a good sense of humor.
Yeah, not this one.
Yeah, depending on where you're jumping, anyway.
Yeah, true.
Yeah,
true that.
So what did mom and dad think when you wanted to start jumping out of airplanes?
Well, actually, mom was living just 2 kilometers from the drop zone, and she wanted to skydive when she was like my age.
Oh, cool.
At that time, 16, 17, 18, 19.
Cool.
But her parents thought that it's not safe enough, and it's
Sure.
not like a ladylike sport that was like in 1960s. So she kind of couldn't. But so I got all the support,
Nice. So she was all about it. Now,
Yeah.
I mean, were they nervous because you just spent so much time in the hospital having fucked yourself up from skiing? I mean,
No, man, that was, my both parents worked in the hospital. Like one anecdote from that is like, they brought me. That was a couple of years before that major injury. They brought me with a torn left ACL and a couple other things. they brought me to the hospital from the ski race. And I was lying there in front of the X-ray division on this, how do you call it, stretchers?
Yeah.
And I could hear my mom walking. I could recognize her kind of very military walk. My mom's very strict. Tum, 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 tum. I knew it was my mom. So she passed my stretcher and I'm like, hey, mom. And she turns around and she's like, oh, you again? And she doesn't say anything. She just takes my chart that was hanging on that stretcher.
Right.
And she reads it. And she's like, oh, it's nothing serious. I don't have time for this shit now. See you later. And she just went, continue her own business. And I was like, okay, cool.
It's funny, over the years in jumping now, I've had the opportunity to work with quite a few people from your region of the world. And when I say your region of the world, I know...
Eastern Europe.
So you say Eastern Bloc, and I actually don't... I try not to say that too much because I've pissed off more than a few people from that general area. Not fucking Eastern Europe. But... well, let's just say Eastern Europe, just this time to generalize. And it's funny because Eastern Europeans have a reputation for just being
very tough
motherfuckers, man. It's that's the running joke for every drop zone that I've worked at that's got Eastern Europeans or Russians working, is that
machines.
Somebody thumped themselves into the ground. Are they okay? Oh, it's Russian.
Oh, yeah.
He's fucking fine.
Yeah.
Because no, it's a compound fracture, but he's on the next load. Right?
Well, if it gets that serious, no. But yeah, I think we're just not used to moan too much or complain too much.
Yeah.
And it's, I don't know, probably that's how we were brought. Everything was super expensive in those times.
Sure.
So, you couldn't go to doctor just
Including
for
medical
a headache or this and that,
Including
It
medical
was just
care.
No. Not actually expensive because, I'm simplifying this thing a little bit because Slovenia, when I was a kid, was still part of Yugoslavia, which was a communist country. It was a socialist country. But we never belonged to the Eastern Bloc.
Sure.
It was independent country. It was kind of a buffer zone between Eastern Bloc and the NATO. Like we bordered to Italy and Austria and those countries. And we were even in the verge of being occupied by Russia in the 60s and in the 70s because we wouldn't kneel down and like support them in many things. And the school system and the healthcare system and everything is like, I don't know, Americans probably know now, like Cubans, They have amazing school system. They have amazing healthcare system. Everything is free for everyone. And same was like this. But I don't know, I think it's historical more that just, I don't know, Slavic people, they know how to deal with pain. They know how to deal without food for a while and things like that.
Sure.
There was never too much of things and we never push it out,
Sure. Well, and it's always interesting, especially coming from my background and especially my country, where people are very busy, bubble wrapping their entire family to make sure nothing goes wrong.
We were never in a bubble or things like that.
Everybody's helmets and pads and this and that, which is, I'm not saying that's a bad thing. Protecting your kids is a good thing. But I came from a generation where you'd hop on a skateboard and grab the leash of the biggest fucking dog you could, and they would drag you at full speed across concrete where you might accidentally plow into a steel pole that was, your jungle gym hanging over concrete.
Yeah. I had those.
Yeah, of course. We survived that shit. So it's I always thought it was very interesting, especially as I've been able to travel the world and work with so many different cultures, that the further Eastern Bloc you get, the tougher people fucking get.
Yeah.
And it's a running joke. It's this,
No, I think that gets with a status and with, I don't know, economical status.
Sure.
I guess people are tougher if they don't have too much.
Yeah. No, the softer the life, the more you're risking, or the more you're worried about getting hurt.
Like just when you said you would grab the leash of the biggest dog.
Yep.
That reminds me on one thing of one of my injuries that didn't happen, that happened outside.
Uh-oh.
So I don't know, you remember that movie? I think it was Burt Reynolds. it was called a roller blade or something.
Oh, I know the one you're talking about. Although I don't know the name yet.
They were driving themselves
roller derby
around behind the motorbikes.
Yeah, yeah.
With the spikes on their elbows and things like that. On the, I mean, they were not rollers as we know it now. There was not like inline rollers, but they were
roller skates.
Yeah, the classical ones.
Oh yeah.
And they would be driving around with a steel ball and try to push that ball into the hole on the other side.
I remember that movie. Yeah.
So probably that movie was in America was in 1975. We've seen it in 1985 back home. But next day, all the kids, we were down on our rollers.
Sure.
And dragging each other behind the bikes with a handball ball or volleyball ball.
Sure.
And hitting each other like fucking.
Yeah, because it looked like a great idea.
Yeah. And what happened was we were going downhill, and this guy hit the brake.
Oh shit!
So I sat on the rear tire, and when I wanted to, and then the rear tire starts to pull my pants inside.
Oh no!
And I wasn't worried about me. Everything what was in my head was like, oh fuck, my mom is gonna fucking kill me because the pants gonna be damaged.
Oh no! Oh no! Oh.
So I went with my head down to pull the pants out, and I pushed my wrists between the spikes.
Oh Jesus Christ!
So basically, every bone on the right wrist from the wrist to the last joint of the finger was dislocated and broken. My hand looked like a fucking stair.
Oh no!
It was like a stairs.
Oh no!
And then because we lived in the building that was there was basically the staff from the hospital was there, so everyone knew a little bit about about being a doctor. So there was like 5 kids pulling my hand and tried to put the joints back in. Oh no! And that went like for like half an hour, and I was all green already and sweating and kind of collapsing almost. And then finally we went upstairs, and my mom saw that hand and was like, "You guys are fucking crazy. Let's go to the hospital."
Oh Jesus Christ! She must have been fucking relieved when you decided to be a skydiver.
Yeah, basically, 27 years of skydiving, over 20K jumps, and except of, like slight back problem or neck problem at times and couple of twisted ankles, I didn't have any injury.
Well, most of that's just because you're old. It's just because you're old like me.
Well, I was young too,
Yeah.
And I did some pretty crazy stuff in those days.
Of course. Well, so I mean,
especially in the beginning,
when you got into
career.
skydiving, you went pretty balls out from pretty much the start. And I mean, you ended up doing a shitload in regard to competing and really, really excelling in this.
So I joined. I mean, I did my course, and then the coach spotted me there that I'm like a athlete and very motorical and talented and things like that. And there is a discipline, I don't know, not many skydivers know that, it's called a paraski. So that's a combination between accuracy jumps and giant slalom, skiing giant slalom competition, which is held in the winter time. The old guys from the US team will know it, and accuracy guys will know it, but probably all these swoopers and Insta skydivers will not.
Right.
But yeah, so I started with that, and it took me 2 years, and I was already second in the European Championship. I was pretty good in accuracy, and I was really good alpine skier, and that's how it started. And then it got me in because I saw that I can build a career on that, and also with that I knew that job will come from the military.
Sure.
Because all the national teams in Europe, they are sponsored by military usually. So, you have a basic salary, you're insured, everything is covered, and all you do is just training and competing.
Which is drastically different from, what I'm used to, which is all out of pocket, or if you're lucky, you manage to pull some sponsorship somewhere that helps to kind of cover the bills. But I mean, so something like this, you're combining alpine skiing and skydiving. Exactly how did that type of competition work? I mean, I've personally never heard of that.
Well, it's basically a pretty simple rule. Probably most of you know the accuracy competition with a disc that measures centimeters, how far from the center point you land. And classical accuracy is happening in the drop zone, but this is happening on a ski slope. So the whole accuracy target is on at least 30% angle.
Oh, wow.
Of the slope. So,
okay.
And then the winds in the mountains are different,
Sure.
So you almost never land, upwind.
Right.
So it's always is some side wind
Sure.
or something. So it's super, super difficult. And then what happens is, like, the winner of the giant slalom competition has a handicap 0, and then every second that you're behind him is translated into 4 centimeters.
Oh, okay.
So if you're 2 seconds behind after 2 runs of giant slalom, that means you have a handicap of 8 centimeters before the first jump.
Wow. Okay.
And
So it's one affecting the other. That's really kind of cool.
Yeah. The history of that discipline it comes from the Switzerland.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
because the skydiving in Switzerland is quite a big sport. They have a really long history as well. And they were thinking what to do in the winter time,
Sure.
And
no,
then
I can see that.
they came up with that. I think around 1970 or something was the first world championship. And U.S. team was actually pretty good, and Canada team was pretty good in those early years.
All right.
But then with all the commercialization of the skydiving and everything, and everything became skydiving, or let's call it parachutism, before was pretty much sponsored by militaries and countries from the beginning, and then it got commercialized a little bit, and more it became depending on you how much money you get for yourself.
Yeah.
In the early days, the Army or Navy or Air Force would give airplane and equipment, and people would come and would jump and things like that. And then later, that was off. Like Golden Knights team, they used to be a super good team in classical disciplines.
Sure.
Like accuracy, style, 4-way. I know a lot of guys, from 15, 20 years ago when we were competing together, but then suddenly they just decided that Army will not pay for that anymore, and they were gone. And that's when, and since then there are some old timers from US still competing in those disciplines. But
it's funny too, because I've actually seen some of your footage from the style portion.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, I'm going to make you sell me on this, because I've talked a fair amount of shit about accuracy in the past. I've actually jokingly called it about as exciting as watching a helium balloon slowly lose gas. So, but I know you were extremely good at it. I mean, you ended up being quite a celebrated champion in style and accuracy, to the point where a girl that I had gone out with a couple of times was like fucking excited to meet you. Oh my God, you know him? You're a friend of it? Because she was like super stoked because you had done so well with this. So I need you to tell me why I should be excited about accuracy, because I really have a tough time grabbing on to the...
Well, the best thing to explain is, first you have to know what it takes to really do that.
Sure.
And to be good at it. And it's like, if you're watching a chess game and you don't even know how to fucking move the figures on the board, it's fucking boring for you.
Sure.
But if you know how to move the figures, it gets a little bit more interested.
Sure.
And then if you read a couple of books about Kasparov, Korchnoi, the American guy, the young guy, Fischer, Bobby Fischer, things like that, what was going on, then it becomes even more interesting.
Sure.
And this is how it's accuracy. It's basically basic of skydiving.
Sure.
Anyone can go to the tunnel and have 100 hours of flying, and he's ninja in fucking free fall, and then the parachute opens and they don't know fucking what to do with the wind, and they're landing downwinds, and they're landing out of the drop zones
Sure.
and things like that.
Well, and I have no doubt that when you're competing in accuracy, I'm sure it's fun because it's a challenge. I have no
But
doubt.
even if you're watching it, in our drop zone back home in Bled,
Right.
in Slovenia, we have annually it's a world championship competition.
Okay.
There is a World Cup competition. I'm sorry, it's one of the 6 World Cup competitions that are held in the mostly European region,
Okay.
and one of them is held there, and we have like 1,500 people every day watching it.
Mm.
The
Oh,
whole
I don't
day.
doubt. I don't doubt.
From 8 o'clock in the morning till the sunset, they are there and watching it. And because the people were educated through the years, what it takes and what the accuracy is about the weather, how precise you have to be. The center point of the disc that measures the distance is 2 centimeters.
Sure. Yeah, it's teeny.
And the winner at the end after 8 rounds has 0 or 1 or 2 centimeters.
Right.
That means that jumping out of 3,300 feet and landing there on that center for at least 8 times.
Sure. Which, and I'm having never jumped accuracy, I can never attest to how
we can change that.
No,
I have
no.
accuracy canopy.
I can never attest to how difficult that may be, and I have no doubt that it's difficult. But I suppose in the venue of modern skydiving now, it's difficult to watch classic accuracy and then watching a guy doing zone accuracy on a Petra at God knows how fast and hitting a target not that much bigger than an accuracy target. And don't get me wrong, I think that they're both very difficult, but you can't fault that watching somebody doing some crazy swoop and hitting that target is more crowd friendly, I guess.
Yeah, it's just more excited because the speed, because of the danger.
Of course.
It's like every sport. It's like you have a Greco-Roman wrestling, which is classical fighting discipline.
Sure.
Which was one of the major disciplines in Olympic games, and now they're thinking of kicking it out because it's not interesting for the TV transmissions anymore.
Yeah.
And all these MMA sports are getting introduced to it because it's rougher, it's bloodier. So, times are changing. But,
of course. And again, I don't think that takes away from the history of it. Obviously, it just, again, and this is just me talking shit. It's just, it's back to the helium balloon thing. Now that being said, the whole style portion of style and accuracy, the style portion I always thought of as very physical because it's very fast paced. It's this crazy body position that you're flying in and shit happens really fast and you're being judged by a guy that's basically shooting a camera at you from the ground. And it seems more intense to me. That part I can really get into.
Well, that was my favorite discipline, actually. I mean, four-way and style was my favorite discipline. I liked accuracy too, but I would prefer style. If I have to choose just one discipline, I would prefer style. It was super fast. We were wearing, the guys still now are wearing the latex suits.
The skin-tight suits,
yeah, it's super tight.
You just want to be in a skin-tight suit. I know you.
Oh, yeah.
I know you.
Well, I look good in it.
See, there you go. Fair enough. All right.
But yeah, the speeds were like, 400 kilometers per hour on a head down when you jump out of the plane. You go into the head dive for about 15 to 17 seconds. Speed goes up to 400 kilometers, which is, I don't know what that in miles.
Fast as fuck.
Yeah.
Fast as fuck.
Miles per hour. And then you go in this small position when you have to pull your knees towards your stomach and your elbows in, and then everything you do is just about the rhythm, really fast kind of eye-hand coordination because you're watching down. First, I should tell that the jump is done from 7,500 feet.
Mm-hmm.
So that's not super high.
Sure.
So you have to go in this dive to gain as much speed as you can, because then you can turn faster.
Yeah, the speed is more control and faster turns.
Yeah, so the style jump is combined by 2 turns, 1 back loop or salto, how do you call it?
Back loop, yeah.
Back loop,
yeah.
And then 2 more turns and back loop. So 6 elements, that's what it counts. the head dive or whatever. You can go belly or
Whatever to
head
get
up
that speed.
or whatever. But it counts from the moment that you start to do that first turn.
Right.
So 7,500 feet below you, there's a big red or yellow dot, and in the middle of that dot is a ground-to-air camera.
Okay.
And there is a first judge that records that, and he gives the sign for your exit. You jump out, you go on a head dive, you do these 6 elements, and then it's basically like 2,500 feet, and you have to open.
Sure.
And in the old days, we were jumping that with the accuracy canopies,
Oh, God.
like 282 square feet,
Right.
300 square feet,
All right.
and the openings were amazing.
I bet.
That was before the small canopies,
Sure.
high performance canopies were introduced.
Oy.
So now just a thing to say. At the drop zones nowadays, all these young guys say, "Oh, I had such a fucking bad opening," and this. I'm like, dude,
Yeah, no.
Are you serious?
Yeah, no, you didn't.
This is like a holiday for me every day. Jumping tandems.
No, you fucking didn't.
So yeah, that was judged like this, and then the videotape would go to other 5 judges. That they would do a replay of your video first in the real time. They would measure time.
Okay.
They would get the average time. So I was one of the best in my time in the world doing style. So that means my times were around 5 seconds, a little bit over 5 seconds.
So that's 5 seconds to hit all 6 elements.
Yes.
Wow. That's
So
fucking fast.
That's a turn, back loop, turn, back loop. And basically you have to really just, it was like a boxing, like boxing combinations.
Sure.
It was just a couple of times you would see this red or yellow dot.
Right.
And it was just the arm work and legs work and keeping.
Well, and when you're in free fall too, you're in a very tucked position, so it's knees to chest almost, and you're
and everything is on your palms, on your head, which are the driving.
And I'm assuming that's just to maintain that speed because speed's faster turns.
Yeah. You have to maintain smaller to maintain that speed, and more speed, faster turns.
Speed is your friend.
Yeah,
for sure.
And then it was just for me at least. I was kind of semi-technical and semi-power. So I would be just breathing. It was like a boxer. It was like 6 elements, and for me it was just about the breathing and the rhythm. It was just like when I went from the head down to this small position and I started the first turn, I was basically really doing these noises, like
sure. Oh yeah.
And that was it. And then I opened and it was boom.
Jesus.
And then it was
boom, literally.
And then it was 2,000 something feet, and that was it. Yeah.
Well, and you did that for quite some time.
Yeah, it was like 20 something years.
Jesus Christ. Well, and then now you also took that the experience and all the winnings and all the hard work, and you were able to turn that into being a pretty world-renowned coach as well with a lot of different teams. I mean, you've been able to work with teams from all over the world, teaching them very much a lot of accuracy for sure, because that's how you and I met.
Yeah,
that's how I decided I didn't fucking like you at all, because you were an asshole.
And he was a fucking pilot.
Just like you introduced yourself, fucking asshole. Which, without getting into the details of that, it was really funny because for whatever reason, you and I did not agree on how things should be done as far as your jump runs were concerned.
Yeah, there was a clash of the egos, I think.
Clash of the egos. And when we finally met because we'd never seen each other face to face, we'd only talked over the radio, and I didn't like you and you didn't like me at all until we finally talked. And I think our first 5 words were more along the lines of, boy, you're a fucking dick.
Oh, yeah, first 5 words, I think we both held the guard up a little bit because we didn't know if someone's going to charge or not.
You're a dick. And within 5 minutes, we're like, I like you.
Yeah, that was kind of we made, yeah.
No, pretty much was about that. It was.
Yeah, basically it was like, I was like, I'm a pilot and a skydiver, and I know about a pilot's ego and everything. And when I came to the drop zone, I was coaching accuracy team, and for accuracy, you're jumping with really big canopies. So the direction, the direction of flight. Yeah, the direction of flight is really important. It needs to be into the wind, and most of the drop zone don't do this because of the high performance canopies.
Sure.
Because with high performance canopy you can reach the drop zone even if you're not
Sure.
flying upwind. And with those big ass canopies, you have to do it, especially in a strong wind. And where we've met, we had strong winds all the time. So my guys were landing all fucking around, like miles around. I was picking them up with the buggies. And then I was like, dude, I need you to fly 310, not 260. My guys are landing, and he was like, what the fuck? We have this run, and this and that, and and then that was my first day at the work when we met. And then finally he had a shutdown for refueling, and he came down to the manifest, and he was like, where's this fucking coach? And I was already there. Where's this fucking pilot?
And there started the friendship right
and
there.
There started the friendship.
Pretty much.
And it's lasting now for 6 years.
Yeah, it was kind of funny because we ended up laughing quite a bit because it almost seemed like right away we found ourselves sitting at Old Man's in fucking Canggu and Bali, shooting the shit. Almost seemed like it happened like the next fucking week. In reality, it was 6 or 7 months away, and in that interim, we had become friends to some degree, and I had voiced a desire to go to Bali, and you're like,
well, I think it was even 2 years afterwards.
When I finally went, but we started talking about Bali relatively soon into it, and you're like, dude, if you ever go, I've been going there for years. How did you start going to Bali?
I was just into surfing. Surfing was one of my, I'm kind of, I have a little bit of Croatian blood in me, so the sea, the ocean floats inside of me. The sky, the ocean are both of my elements. And I was always mesmerized when I was watching those videos of the guys surfing in Hawaii or Tahiti or things like that, and that was so amazing for me. And then when I had a first chance to surf was in Australia, and I had basically my teacher was Shane Horan, who used to be in the 70s and 80s. He was one of the best surfers, big wave surfers and everything. And we spoke, and he said, well, I have a surfing school in Bali as well, and like Indonesia is one of the best waves, and swells and things like that. You have to go there. And that was like 11 years ago. So that first time that I went to Bali, and I just fell in love with that island, and with couple of people who live there. They're my dear friends. And, and then I just kept on coming back. And then, we started to talk about it. And then you went with another friend first time there. And I told you, you were super excited. And I told you, well, that's awesome, but you don't know the real Bali yet. You have to go with me because I've been going there already for 6 years, and I can introduce you to totally different Bali than know it's now.
Oh my God, did you?
that was exactly what happened.
Oh yeah, it was. I think it was the following year was the first trip there, and that was when my opinion of not just you, but quote Eastern Bloc people changed dramatically, because I think it was Junior and I went, and
it was you and Junior and me,
and we met up with you in Canggu, and we had our little villa, and you were going to show us around a little bit. We had no idea what to expect, and we knew you, but we didn't know you that well. Because we hadn't really hung out too much. And so finally we're having an opportunity to hang out. And the very first night we're hanging out in Bali, we end up at Old Man's, and you introduce us to your close personal friend who you've known for quite some time.
Yeah, since my first time there.
A gentleman by the name of Glenn Arthur, who is without a doubt the most unique human being I think I have ever met.
Yeah, for me too. He's really original.
He's hilarious. He's got more stories than anybody I've ever met. I know this
even
firsthand.
More than Din.
Even more than me.
If you can believe, guys.
Yeah, because I actually happened to be sitting across the table from this guy, and he said something about having a lot of stories, and I said, well, shit, let's trade stories. I got a bunch as well, and he destroyed me.
Yeah.
Pretty much destroyed me. But
well, I know how he destroyed you. I can remember the exact line that destroyed you.
So can I.
So Glenn's gay. So let's first say that.
Glenn is flamboyantly gay.
Yeah. Exactly. And so Glenn and Dean are competing whose story is gonna overcome the other guy's story. And that went for like 15, 20 minutes. And then Glenn in this pose with his palms up and like, like really kind of feminine pose, looks at Dean and he's like, honey, you don't have to try so hard. I fuck only straight guys.
Yeah. I think the exact words that he said something along the lines of, you don't have to try so hard. And then he says, I don't fuck gay men.
No, he said, I only fuck straight guys. Like he said that you're too gay for him.
Something like that. Well,
Something
no.
like that. And that was the first time I saw Dean speechless.
Well, this was.
He didn't have any comeback.
No, I had
there
nothing.
Was nothing.
I had nothing to say. Well, this was not even less than 5 minutes later was when he asked Junior if Junior knew where a man's G-spot was, and then told him he'd be happy to show him. So
I didn't know that. That's the
God,
first time I heard.
Oh no, it was amazing. So the funniest.
I can just imagine Junior's face.
Oh yeah, no, it was classic. Now the funniest part about all of that was that night wrapped up because we ended up. Glenn took us all to this beautiful Italian restaurant just up the road. We all ate a huge meal. He gives everybody a hug goodnight, and then he goes off on his decked out little Vespa scooter back home wherever. And Junior and I are scooting back to our little villa that we're staying in at the time, going, I think we fucking love this place. He literally set the tone for that entire trip. And we jokingly, because Junior and I, we've actually talked about it on this podcast when we went to Gilly T that same trip.
Yeah.
And Junior got attacked by the big red rooster. That's why it became the Dodging Cocks tour of whatever year it was, because the whole thing started out with meeting Glenn, who was, I'm sure he'll be the first one to say, was going over the top trying to be a little extra gay just to fuck with the clearly two straight guys that were coming to hang out.
He's super smart guy.
Oh my God.
He loves to tease and he loves to poke on the right places. And yeah,
well, and
he's
then
amazing. He's an amazing human being. He's amazing humanitarian there and everything. And
he's incredible. He's incredible.
I just love him. Yeah.
Well, I think my favorite story of him was talking about David Bowie. He'd told a couple of stories about David Bowie, and one of the stories was something along the lines of
how he met him.
Yeah, he was hanging out with him, and that he ended up.
I actually had a chance to like certify that story.
Yeah.
When I met David Bowie.
Yeah,
Bali with Glenn.
So tell the whole story.
So that happened in the times of Studio 54 back in New York, I think.
Yes, New York, very much so.
Glenn used to be a makeup artist for the stars in those times, and well, he told us a story how he met David Bowie, and the story was that first he snorted cocaine out of his leather pants, and then he sucked his cock, and we were like, yeah. And
whatever.
then actually 2 or 3 years later, that was like probably 3-4 years ago, just like maybe 2 years before David Bowie died. I met him in Bali.
Yeah, because he had a place not that far away from Glenn's
place and from
our place. Yeah,
from our place now. Yeah, we share
Villa Blue Skies and Villa Blue
yeah.
Skies 2 if you want to rent an amazing fucking villa in Bali. This is the commercial break. Villa Blue Skies and Villa Blue Skies 2 in Canggu, Canggu in Batubalong in Bali. You're going to want to rent these places because they're amazing. Just down the road from where David Bowie used to live. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. So, usually I would rent a place in Bali before we had our own place. Or I would stay with Glenn's. And at one time I was staying in another place, and I would just Glenn, if I would pass his house, I would stop by, to say hi and hang out a little bit. And I came there, and David Bowie was there, and they were talking and everything. And I was like, oh shit, this is not happening. and then we talked for a little bit, and I was practically hypnotized with this guy's voice, very deep voice, and this. One gray, one blue eye.
Fucking David. That's like, Ziggy Stardust.
Like really piercing look,
All right.
I felt like the Spock is looking at me, from the Star Trek. And then at one point, Glenn goes like, oh, David, Gorazd doesn't believe me of the story how we met, and David goes, oh, you mean the leather pants and the coke and the blowjob? And I was like, okay, it really happened. Awesome.
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
he wasn't lying. Basically, Glenn doesn't lie, and sometimes he just adds up a notch.
He spices it up a
Yeah,
little
he
bit.
spices it up a little bit, but
He
yeah.
is an amazing storyteller. Now, for those that have listened to this and you think we're full of shit, we're totally not. He used to work as a makeup artist back in the day, and now actually designs his own custom leather bags. He does all this from Bali. I don't actually know the name of the company that he works
GA
for.
bags.
GA bags.
Yeah, Glenn Arthur bags.
Ridiculously badass bags, super crazy designs. You got to check them out. They really are super cool. He would get a kick out of it as well. And he honestly is a super crazy humanitarian as well. He takes kids all around the world and helps educate them and take good care of them. And he's just a spectacular.
He sponsors two shelters.
Yeah.
Orphanages.
Yep.
Orphanage.
Orphanages. Yeah.
He sponsors two of those and a couple of dog.
Well, he
dog shelters too.
sponsors the dog shelters, and he's part of the big movement to vaccinating all the Bali dogs.
Bali
For those of you that have not been to Bali, Bali dogs are everywhere. The dogs free roam all over the place, and they're fed by all the local people that live there and the tourists as well. And they're very, very well taken care of, and they're actually vaccinated. So even though they're basically feral dogs, they're still all very friendly Bali dogs. They're world famous specifically for that. And Glenn was the spearhead for helping take care of them as well as take care of the kids. So again, check out his bags, check out his stuff.
He's a pretty rich guy. So once a year he rents a charter airplane and he takes like 150, 160 kids.
Yep.
For a couple of days trip to somewhere.
Yep. No, he's fantastic. So that's how actually you and I, from that trip, that's where we ended up becoming pretty close friends. Yeah. And in the interim, and since then, over quite a few years of trips to Bali now, you and myself and Junior and a few other amazing folks have actually ended up getting the villas that we've got, that we rent out, because we just fell in love with the place. I mean,
Bali kind of connects people, It's like, I've never met a really bad person in Bali. No. I don't know. I mean, probably they are there, but, it just kind of, Bali, they say it's an island of the gods, and it has a special vibe and special energy, and I think it connects people with the same kind of vibe or energy.
It does.
I just, in all of the 11 years that I've been going there, I never had bad experience with a person or something. Well, I got mugged last year, though.
Well, I hate to say it. The downside to Bali is that the negatives that I see are not born there; they're imported. So most of the bad stuff that's happening is being brought about because the tourism is just overrunning the place.
So there's a lot of people coming from other Asian countries or from other Indonesian islands. Bali is mostly Hindu island. Hindu, and Indonesia is a Muslim country.
Yep.
So Bali has a totally different kind of vibe than other, 3,000 something islands in Indonesia. And because of the really big boom of tourism in Bali in the last, I think it started after the Eat, Pray, Love with Julia Roberts.
Sure, of course.
That kind of started it. Before there were just surfers going there, mostly from Australia, because it's just 4-hour flight. And then it kind of started with a big tourist boom after that movie.
Well, and even in the relatively short period of time that I've been going there, which is 5 years now.
Oh, it doubled.
Oh my goodness! Canggu, where our places are, is just, it's quadrupled in this business. It's so busy. And so, of course, everybody's looking for the next town down and the next quiet place that they can go to. But I mean, it's turned out to be an amazing place to go hang out. Spectacular food all over the place. Super healthy food.
Food is...
You show up in Canggu and you drop 10 kg just thinking about the food you're going to be eating, because it's ridiculously healthy and you're active all the time. And that's where I learned how to surf with your help, as a matter of fact. Surf badly. That's also, and this is a fucked up story with you. So You had been surfing, and I forget exactly what happened, but you ended up taking a fin to the back of your calf.
Yeah.
So you had a nice little gash.
Fucking Russian guy fucking destroyed
Fucking
me.
Russians,
He
damn it.
dropped in my wave, and you know how those Eastern Europeans are, fucking assholes.
I do. So he rakes you, and you end up you're getting out of the water, and we were all on the beach at the time, and you got blood running down the back of your calf, and you've got a nice little gash on the back of your calf, and you're going to have to go get it stitched up.
It cost me 6 stitches, yeah.
Yeah. So you go to the doctor in Bali, which for every American listening out there, wait, you're going to a doctor in a third world country? It is a little scary, I'm not going to lie. So he goes to the doctor and he gets his stitches, and when he comes back, everybody's asking how he is. And
the doctor asked me if I want anesthesia, and I said no.
Yeah, so you're telling
because stitches just cost me like $2.50, and he wanted $200 for anesthesia. And I'm like, for 6 stitches?
Yeah,
no, man, I'm not going to take it.
So you tell him, no, I'm not going to take it. I don't want any. I don't want you to numb it up. I'm just going to take the stitches. Now, of course, all I'm thinking is fucking Eastern European hard ass motherfuckers. Why would he not do that? Now, cut to about, I guess, not quite a month later.
Yeah, not even 3 weeks later.
Maybe 3 weeks later, I end up taking one on the head, and I get shoved all the way down into the reef, and I end up with a huge gash on my knee. And it's proper. You know, I'm bleeding all over the place. I hop out of the water, and I've got blood just gushing down. Everybody else is freaking out, and you're just kind of looking at me going, yeah, you better go get that stitched up. And so I go and I get on my scooter, and before I leave, you make sure and take one last dig. You're like, you're not going to get that anesthesia stuff, are you? As I'm leaving. So I'm like, fuck no, I'm not. And of course, the entire time I'm on the scooter bleeding excessively, thinking, fuck Nitka, that I can't fucking, why would he say that? God damn it. Fuck. So I'm halfway to the doctor's office. Now, mind you, I'm on a scooter in a pair of board shorts, still dripping wet out of the ocean. I have no shirt on. I have no helmet, which is totally illegal in Bali. And I've got to drive through one of the busiest areas. And I come to the corner that is famous for where the police just pull over idiots like me that are riding around without a helmet on. And I point to my knee. This cop takes one look at the blood gushing down my leg, turns white, and just points me the fuck away. He's like, go. So I go to where I think the doctor is that you told me to go to, but directions are difficult in that place.
Oh, yeah.
To say the least. And there's a pharmacy and a doctor's office on every other corner.
It's very confusing.
Yeah. So I finally end up pulling into some place, and I walk in, and by now I'm starting to get a little, woozy because I've been bleeding for a while. And I point to my leg, and the nurse says, okay, here we go. And so they take me inside, and they're getting ready to give me the local to numb up my leg.
Anesthesia.
And I'm like, no, I'm good. And, you sure? Yeah, I'm good. And the entire time, all I'm thinking is fucking Nitka. God damn it. But I managed to pull out my iPhone and start hitting record. And I'm sitting up as they try and put the first stitch in. But it was the dullest needle in the history of needles. She was literally grabbing the skin with the clamps and trying to push this needle through just one flap of the skin as hard as she could. Meanwhile, I'm slowly reclining on the table and turning whiter and whiter and trying to film, but now I'm not looking at the camera anymore. I'm just holding it where I think it's going to be. And it was supposed to be about 6 stitches as well, but by the time they finally finished getting these stitches jammed through the skin that they didn't bother to clean up, I am laying flat down trying to film this thing, and I'm begging them for water. So yeah, that was my extreme Bali surfing thing. All because of you. Yeah, no, fuck. Don't bother getting any anesthetic. For anybody listening, get the fucking anesthetic.
Well, dude, you know how much?
Pay the money. Let them know.
Oh, it's $200.
Yeah, it's worth every penny.
You can live for that money in Bali for a month.
Yeah, worth every penny. I should have fucking done it. Dude. And then on top of it
to get this money back from your insurance company, it takes you 150 emails and calls and whatever. So why the fuck bother?
On top of it all. The stitches
just squeeze your teeth for 5 minutes and you're done.
The stitches that I got ended up fucking shredding out of my leg because they were so poorly done. So
that's true. Yeah. I could do it better with my Rambo knife.
Yeah. Seriously, a regular needle and thread would have been better than that. It was absolutely horrible, but it makes for a good story. And who wants to die without scars?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So
chicks dig scars.
What is it? Pain is temporary, glorious forever. Chicks dig scars.
Yeah,
there you go. Yeah. I don't know. I assume that's true.
You know, one of the sexiest movie scenes is what was the movie from the Mel Gibson? When they go with this other chick police officer
Oh
comparing scars.
yeah. That was one of the.
Who has the better scars?
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
you
Oh
know,
yeah. Fuck. What was that? Was one of the.
The gun something? Not naked gun.
No. Oh man, I'm blanking out on it.
Yeah, I can remember.
Right now,
that.
people are losing their shit because they know the name of it. But no, yeah. It's the big what made Mel Gibson basically famous.
Yeah, it was like up 3 or 4 movies.
Whatever those were. Jesus.
Yeah.
All right, so you do all of this stuff. You became a skydiver. You became a championship style and accuracy guy, a coach, a working skydiver now, chucking drugs and shooting videos and doing all this stuff and doing quite well for yourself, as well as an entrepreneur with me in Bali, and working towards that kind of stuff, an active surfer and all this. So what's next for you? Like, what do you think comes next? Is it going to be chucking a bunch of drugs until you end up on the beach retired with me?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Kind of, it's going that way. Retiring at the beach with a surf, colored in, I don't know, kind of a Rasta colors.
Right. Yeah, let your hair down a little bit.
Let my hair grow. You can't do that anymore. I still can.
No, I can't do that anymore. Well, I can. I just can't seem to manage to do it on the back of my head.
I can grow some dreadlocks or something, but no. Kind of settling down in some nice warm environment close to the ocean, close to the surf. Still probably, skydiving is part of my life. So
sure.
At least traveling somewhere for a skydive,
sure.
here and then. But in probably 2-3 years.
Nice. Wrap it up a little bit.
I think it's going to be enough of doing this professionally. Like I stopped competing 7 years ago, and it was over the night decision. One day we were at our drop zone.
Yep.
And the weather was bad, so we couldn't skydive. We couldn't train. So I basically killed everyone in Call of Duty already, and then I was like, what the fuck I'm doing here?
Yeah.
And then I was thinking for 5 minutes, and I was like, okay, let's hit the gym. And I hit the gym, and I came back, and I killed another 20 people on the Call of Duty on a bad weather day. And then it just hit me, I was just like, fuck.
Yep.
I have enough.
That's kind of where I hit as well.
I was like 39, 40 at that time.
Yeah.
For those who don't know me, I look way younger,
Oh, Jesus Christ.
No, I had to say that, just for this.
Jesus Christ. But both you and I are pretty fucking gray around the edges now.
We're like two silver foxes sitting in this
sitting in a toilet, sitting in a toilet telling stories.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, and I just kind of had a quick thought about it, and I said, well, I have enough of those trainings and traveling around. I mean, I'm super grateful. I've seen the whole world basically going for competitions and training and everything, but at that point it was just enough.
Sure.
So I just wrote my resignation letter and I handed in the next day.
Sure.
And I didn't know what the fuck I'm gonna do. I didn't know anything. So I had a 30 days resignation period. And in those 30 days, I still didn't know what I'm going to do.
Right.
And then just 4 days before that, I said, okay, so I don't know what I'm going to do. So, I went online. I made a e-visa for Australia. And I went to Australia to surf. And then a friend of a friend told me, hey, this guy is opening a drop zone somewhere in Australia, and he needs experienced guy to help him. And I was kind of helping running drop zone back home, and I had a lot of experience with logistics and organizing and things like that from the military and from the civilian sphere. And I went there and I worked for the guy for a while, and then I was applying for Australian work visa and resident visa, and then I got a call that some team wants me to coach.
Wow.
Because they knew that I was assistant coach back home already, competitor and assistant coach, and doing with juniors and things like that.
Sure.
And I said, okay, I'm gonna take that offer. It's gonna be a challenge.
Sure.
And that's that's how we met, basically, because I
Yeah.
came to the drops
Well,
that you were flying at.
and it's kind of cool to transition from the in the trenches to teaching people and guiding people. I mean, it's a neat transition. It really is, and
It's just I find it hard because how I was brought up and where I was brought up.
Sure.
People sometimes think, "Fuck, this guy is super tough," but no, that's just how I was brought up, and I speak like this.
See,
I said,
that's
"Sit down." I said,
ex-
"Sit down." I'm not fucking angry. I just said to sit down nicely. And
exactly-
I said, "Sit down, please," and people think that I'm fucking yelling. No, dude. That's how I was brought.
It's the accent.
I'm a nice guy.
It's the accent. That's it. Well, and again, that's where my opinion changed of you in Bali big time, because I got to see the nice guy, and yes, he's boisterous and loud and over the top, but in a very good way. And then if you had asked me, out of these 10 people, and Glenn being one of them, who is he going to be close friends with? Glenn would have been the last person that I would have picked. Now, I'm from the Bay Area. I'm from San Francisco. So
Yeah.
Glenn to me is not an unusual thing. Glenn is just, I wouldn't even think twice, but I would not pick Glenn, an Eastern Bloc tough guy, as super close friends. So instantly, my opinion changed. Instantly, which in a very, very positive way. It was fantastic. And that's, I think, where you and I actually started really becoming good friends, because I'm like, oh, he's not that guy. Okay, he's not the prick that I thought he was. He's still a fucking prick, but he's not that prick.
It's like judging book by the cover.
Of course.
It's kind of cliche, but it's
Of course.
many times people. I get it from many people.
Well, of course.
Especially when you start to talk and open up a little bit. If we just talk professionally and I just met you, I'm not gonna tell you about myself.
Of course.
Just
of course. Of course.
in the first 5 minutes.
Well, and
But I don't mind if you show interest and have a decent talk.
of course.
You know me. I'm very straightforward. I'm very direct.
Yeah.
Too much for many people.
Fuck him.
But I'm always for a nice, meaningful talk.
Sure.
Deep
Well,
talk.
And you fell
things like
victim.
that,
You fell victim to my very American mentality when it comes to Eastern Bloc, because for a lot of Americans like me long ago, Eastern Bloc means Russian. That's
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
And
That's
in
true.
an American mentality, Russian means Ivan Drago, who's going out to beat Rocky up. That's it in a nutshell. The Russians want to bomb us, and the Russians want to do this and that and the other thing. And then
Yeah.
you get out into the real world and you realize, A, Eastern Bloc people aren't all Russian, and B, even if they are Russian, there's some really fucking cool Russian people out there.
That was all politics,
Of course it is, but
How I was brought when I was watching Western movie, I was always like, fuck this fucking John Wayne, I was always cheering for Indians, kill those fucking cowboys,
Yep. Yep. Why is he
I wasn't
walking that
happy
way?
when cowboys were shooting Indians,
Yeah.
I was always cheering
Yeah,
for the Indians
yeah.
because,
Sure. Well, and it's
because fucking kill Americans.
Of course,
that's,
yeah,
It's
absolutely.
just how we were brainwashed, man.
It's same thing with us.
yeah.
Same thing with us, which
Yeah.
is why it's so cool to get out in the real world and realize, oh, actually, there's some really fucking cool people out there. Again, being an American, you wouldn't expect Eastern Bloc or Russians to have a good sense of humor, but the fact of the matter is they have a great sense of humor. It's just very difficult at first for Americans
To understand.
to figure it out. It takes a while.
Yeah, but you know what? Humor at many times is connected to intelligence
Sure.
or broad horizons. And I think when it comes to education and things like that, Eastern Europe is way ahead of common Americans or average American. Average Eastern European guy is still better educated than average American
Well,
guy.
certainly in regard to the rest of the world.
Or even to America. One of my first experiences in Chicago many, many years ago at the party was I destroyed a chick who was acting very, very badly to me when I told her that I'm from Slovenia, which was part of Yugoslavia, which was communist country,
Sure.
socialist country. and then she went like, she was super interested in me, but when I told her where I'm from, suddenly it was over. And I was like, what, you think you're more than me or something? And she was like, yeah. And I was like, okay. And I started to ask her questions about civil war in America, about the presidents,
Sure.
how many republics is
Sure.
in America, which one was the last one that joined and things like that.
Oh, yeah.
I knew more about fucking American history than she knew, and she was college educated, and she was from the higher.
Oh yeah, I hate to
she
say
was
it.
from the very, very rich Chicago family.
I hate to say it, but
And I was like, okay, now, you look hot, but you're too stupid for me to fuck you. Like,
I hate to say it, but if you were to give quite a few Americans the exact same test that you have to take as an immigrant trying to earn citizenship, they probably wouldn't pass.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, for sure,
Yeah.
for sure.
Which is
Yeah.
unfortunate.
All
Now,
the-
that being said, you get the Americans that are well-traveled, and I like to I've said it before, I naturally give skydivers a lot more credit than I give a lot of other people because a lot of skydivers are either very well-traveled
They travel, or they know people that travel.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
even for American skydivers that have never been able to go out of the States to jump, they know jumpers from everywhere.
Yeah,
from every
someone else opened their horizons.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
so they've learned a lot more than the average American that's never been anywhere and not really met anybody from other places. So I think skydiving is an amazing way to broaden somebody's horizons, even in your own backyard, which is pretty amazing.
Yeah, about this, skydiving kind of, I was in professional skydiving, which is totally different than most of the guys who's going to listen to this interview know
Sure.
about,
Sure.
That's how, like, in the drop zone where I work now, I was professional athlete.
Mm.
I came to the drop zone. I did, 6, 8, 10, 12 jumps. I went home. I went to the gym for 2 hours. And then I watched my videos from that training and I went to sleep. And next day,
Sure.
I did the same.
This is your whole life.
5 days a week,
Yeah.
And, we had occasional beer after, if someone had a round number, 2,000, 5, 10,
Sure.
15,000 of jumps, we had a beer later. But there was no other substances.
Right.
And
Right.
there was, now that I know that, it's kind of like comparing skydivers lifestyle to a surfer lifestyle, kind
Sure.
of hippie lifestyle
Yeah.
or hipster, whatever
Sure.
nowadays it's called.
Sure.
That was not my lifestyle, even
Right.
though I was skydiver my whole life,
Sure.
basically half of my life.
Yeah, yeah.
But
No,
I
yours
never
was-
knew those things,
yours was
going behind
much
the hangar
more-
to have a joint or
Yeah.
do this or that. I never did that, in my life.
Yeah, yours was much more regimented.
So yeah, I was professional athlete. That was
Yep.
my job, and
Well, and again,
I took it seriously, and but it gave me opportunity being employed by military. I left military after 19 years being there as a captain,
Mm.
rank captain. I did officers academy. Before that, it gave me opportunity on all the travelings and trainings and everything. I studied a lot, so I finished 2 universities, sports science and economic management. Most of the people don't know about that.
Sure.
They just see my rough, angry Russian
Covered in tattoos and
exterior,
yep.
and they don't know about my education or my open mind or whatever.
Sure.
But if you don't show interest, I'm not gonna show you, and
Well,
I'm gonna tell you.
That's
how it is,
one of the funnest things about the sport, and that's turned out to be probably the funnest thing about this podcast. Is I get people in here that you have certain expectations or certain preconceived notions about what you're going to learn about this person and what you think they're going to be about, and then they just turn it up on its head. I think the episode that's airing as you and I are recording this one is with a guy by the name of Brian Casserly, and if you look at his pictures, he is covered in tattoos. He has a massive beard, and I believe the picture that I used to promote the episode, he is wearing tights and a rainbow-colored tutu and a one-piece. But you speak to him, and he's extremely well-spoken, very intelligent gentleman, and he's a Sunday school teacher. But you would never know, never know this guy. And so that's probably been the funnest thing with this podcast is you talk to people that you think you know about and find out all these different things, which is just fucking cool. It really is. So now usually when I wrap up the podcast, I always ask somebody, what kind of advice would you give to people that are just getting ready to start out in the sport or people that think they might be towards the end of their skydiving career because they've just kind of lost that spark? What do you say to either of them? What do you do if you're starting? What do you do if you think it's over?
Well, I think it's easier for the people that start, just take your own pace.
Sure.
Don't look too much what other people are doing. That's where, at least for me as an experienced skydiver and a coach, people want to take two bigger steps and then they fuck up.
Yep, and then they end up hurt and they're out of the sport.
Yeah, they go to the drop zone and they see all these ninjas. I mean, yeah, do whatever you want in a free fall when you're alone or when you're doing it safe, especially if you have a tunnel hours before and you're like fucking ninja in the free fall. But then when the canopy opens, that's usually when shit happens, you know?
Yeah.
And that's when it takes experience. And that's me as an accuracy jumper. I know the most about that, about meteorology, weather, winds, canopy piloting, things like that.
That's one of the biggest pieces of advice that people give on the podcast is, especially when it comes to canopy stuff, take your time.
Yeah, take your time.
If you're just starting out, don't be in any rush. You got to
take your time and listen. You know how many times in the drop zones happened to me when I watched people who are really ninjas in the tunnel and in free fall, and then they open canopy and it's like 20 miles wind, and they open canopy and they fly downwind, and then for 2-3 minutes they're trying to come back.
Oh yeah,
just things like that.
Silly stuff like that, or they're ninjas in the tunnel.
What happened a couple of weeks ago in the States?
Sure,
the girl landing
on the freeway,
landing on the freeway,
and that's
things like that. And
that's a huge case of
150 jumps, I think, which is not that much, but it's not that little as well.
Sure, no, it's a. I mean, I hate to say it, but it's enough to know. It's enough that you should know the hazards of the area that you're flying in and your own capabilities, for sure. And it's a tragedy that it happened, and it's unfortunate. But you're right. That boils down to a bad situation, and then compounded by bad decisions.
Yeah. So for people that starting, I would just say take it easy.
Yeah.
Don't do what the ninjas do.
Learn from other people's mistakes.
Yeah.
So now, how about the burnouts? How about the ones that are like, all right, I think I'm done, but they're hanging on?
I would just say, go to the basics.
Yep.
Go to where you started.
Yeah.
Take it easy.
Yeah.
Just.
How about trying something new too?
Well, depends on what new is.
Well, say
I was kind of unfortunate with those things when I started. When we were kind of, my trainings and everything was really kind of like old Russian style, very strict and everything. And our coach, I started to sky surf and wingsuit flying like almost 20 years ago. And I had to do it secretly because I knew that my classical discipline coach would fucking kill me if he would knew that I'm doing this on the weekend.
Right.
That I'm driving to Croatia or Italy to do the base jumps or things like that. That was kind of like,
how funny is that?
No, prohibidado, prohibido, prohibido. So I had to hide those things, and I love those things, but I never got good in those things because I couldn't do them enough to get really comfortable and good,
For me, my drawback into the sport when I hit that burnout phase was discovering that there were a lot of things in skydiving that I'm not particularly good at, and enjoying the fact that I wasn't that good at it. It was fucking great. And
that's like the other day when we were flying in a tunnel.
Yes, absolutely. So ninjas all over the place, and you're watching
one of the best flyers that they were in one of the best free fly team.
Oh yeah,
Rob was coaching me one-on-one doing sit fly and things like that for first time in my life.
Absolutely.
And people were not even excited, like, okay, old guy is doing pretty decent, learning that. But then when the guy put the maximum speed in the tunnel and I pulled the classical style inside of the tunnel, everyone went on their feet and cheered for me.
No, we were going crazy, dude.
I was like, what the fuck?
That was fantastic.
This is nothing for me, What about the sit fly that I was doing just minutes before?
Man,
no one cheered for me.
I got such a kick out of that because the sit flying was making us giggle as you're backsliding into the walls and everything. And as soon as they kicked up the fan, you go straight into the style, and bam, you're cranking out the turns. And even Rob was losing his shit.
Yeah,
it was fantastic.
I mean, that was like totally spontaneous. I never even tried it in a tunnel. I didn't do style for 10 years. My last style jump in the air was basically 9 years ago.
Nice.
2010 in
Still got it.
Switzerland in the military world championship. I end up second in the style. And that was my last style jump.
Nice.
And then I pulled it off
In the tunnel.
like 2 weeks ago in a
That was
tunnel.
fucking hilarious.
And I didn't even consider it. If I fuck up something, it will fucking catapult me into the wall.
It was perfect.
But I pulled it out, and everyone was on the feet cheering. I was like, "Okay, guys, come on, this is nothing."
It's like the stones
I
on
was just sit flying and do and I did transitions and everything, and no one even moved the muscle.
Yeah, no, it was like watching the Rolling Stones come out on a reunion tour. Look at him go! Mika's still got it. He still got it.
He still got it. Yeah.
Well, dude, I tell you what, man. Good advice, and definitely fucking take your time if you're new and back to the basics.
Just go to the basic. Appreciate the sport. Appreciate not the technique and the equipment and things, but appreciate that you're out there. You're fucking flying.
Yep.
It's flying. You know the quote from the I don't know it in English. I could say it, half of it in Slovenian about the. It's in our drop zone written down.
Oh, the touch in the sky, and I know the quote. I know the quote. Yeah. Absolutely.
So,
and again, there's people out there that are saying it right now, going, "You guys are morons."
And yeah. And once you fly,
Exactly.
you will always want to go back.
Once you've tasted flight, absolutely. Absolutely.
Something like that. So
enjoy it.
Guys, you're doing something that's not meant to be for humans, and we're flying. And with wingsuits and everything, it's even go closer to the flying, not just falling. It's actually flying.
We do something that
just appreciate that you're doing something that not everyone,
that most everyone will never do.
Do, and it's a freaking dream, man, and it's amazing.
We're not just
feeling and everything.
We're not just an elite club of human beings. We get to do this on a regular basis.
Just go to the basics. Not with technique or equipment, but with what you felt when you started. Yeah. Because you were like, shit, man, I just jumped from 13,000 feet.
Yep.
Who does that? 100 people around me here in this area, but, everyone drives a car or rides a bike or whatever. But, skydiving is something different. Just start
It's special.
Appreciate
that
again,
Yeah, for sure. Well, and it's
basic feelings.
It's easy to get burned out on it, but it's also very easy to get it back as long as you look at it with that mentality. It really is.
Yeah, truly.
Yeah, man. I'll tell you what. Thank you so much for taking the time to sit down with me and shoot the shit. We could go into a lot more detail and a lot more fucked up stories, but we'll save that for next time around.
Oh yeah, maybe. Yeah, for sure. There's a lot of material for a sequence.
Yeah. We'll have a couple of heavy drinks before we start that one next time around. But guys, Gorazd, a.k.a. Nitka, life by a thread, man. A real pleasure. Blue skies, brother. Thanks for coming.
Thank you so much.
Take care. Well, there you have it. Another episode of the Lunatic Fringe podcast, brought to you as always by, well, wait, not as always, actually. Brought to you now by Gyro. Formerly known as NZ Aerosports, you'll head to gyro.com for their next level line of canopies. By Pussfoot, the Extreme Sports Collective. Head over to pussfoot.com to check it out. By Summit Parachute Systems, check out summitparachutesystems.com to talk to Jarrett Martin and the gang about kick-ass pilot rigs, rigging courses, and more. By Flyaway Indoor Skydiving, go to flyawaytn.com and check out all the cutting-edge stuff to come. By Pure Spectrum CBD, head to purespectrumcbd.com to check out their wide range of CBD products. And as for us, head to the lunaticfringepodcast.com to listen to any of the hundreds of episodes currently available, hit the link for our YouTube channel, pick up your copy of the Lunatic Fringe book or The Accidental Stripper, and get a sneak peek at upcoming guests. Once again, thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.
jam.